Our Story Productions presents Martin County on TV, spotlighting the organizations, businesses, and citizens who are making a difference in our community today. And with interviews and stories done by local television shows over the last 25 years, here you're sure to learn more about the county we call home. Get ready, for this is Martin County on TV.
Martin County on TV, talking business.
Good day, this is Jeff Rouse, executive producer of Our Story Productions, host today of Martin County on TV, talking business. And I have special guests with me today. I have
Alex Schlesman, owner of LiveFit.
And Jenny Moeller.
Welcome. Glad to have you here. And you said the business you're with is?
LiveFit, gym here in town, here in Fairmont.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about the gym.
Well, we started in August of 2020, in the fall there, so right after COVID. And we're a large 50,000 square foot facility and just a functional commercial gym here in town.
Now, I have to stop you there already. How big?
50,000.
50,000 square feet. Now, I surmise it had to be pretty big because when I've been in there, it's like, wow, look at the size of this place. It's very impressive.
Yeah, we've got a lot to offer.
Very impressive. And tell us about some of the things that people can expect to see when they go.
Well, first thing when you walk in, we notice that everyone kind of gets overwhelmed with all the spaces. They kind of got their eyes looking, whoa. We kind of got to gaze them towards the, hey, our attention here at the desk here first. I think the first thing people notice when they walk in is the track that we have with all the equipment in the inside of the track. The track we have is 1/12 of a mile, so 12 laps per mile. I think the next thing that you would see would be the cardio equipment, all of our treadmills, ellipticals, regular recumbent bikes, and then you'd probably gauge yourself towards the turf. And we have an 8,000 square foot section of turf there that people can use for multi-purpose. We see families use it for playing catch with their kids. We use it for our Parisi Speed School, for our sports performance stuff for our youth athletes, and then people would use it for speed training. Some of our track athletes use it for sprinting. Whatever they'd use it for. So, that'd probably be the first thing that you'd see in the basketball court and pickleball court and kind of a little bit of everything.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Yeah. So, before we kind of go into a couple of these different things that you talked about, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Fairmont, so I also do massage here at the gym. And I ended up becoming the back scene person doing all the bookkeeping and kind of keeping things rolling with whatever needs attention for that day.
Sure, that's not a little job.
Yeah.
Very important. The back seat.
So we just kind of team together and do what needs to get done.
Some of the things you were talking about. First, tell the folks who uses the gym. Age bracket.
We got pretty much everyone. I mean, literally, we've got families with really young kids. We don't charge membership for young families. They just have to be members or pay day passes for young kids. And then it goes all the way up. I mean, I've got one of my clients. I'll pick on her, Judy Beckman. She's in her 80s, and so she's coming in all the time. Personal training with me. We've got all kinds of different people that just come in and just walk on the track. Whether they utilize the recumbent bikes, we've kind of seen some people that started with the bikes or their walking routine have teased into shooting baskets or have gone into more lifting equipment and gone in. And some have asked for personal training sessions themselves too, to maybe seek out more of a comfort level in our facility. So,
and I've noticed when I've been in there, your staff is very friendly.
We make sure
very welcoming.
Yes, we want people to feel comfortable coming in because, for one, like we said in the beginning, 50,000 square feet, that can be overwhelming, and it really can. And so we want people to know that when they walk in, if they have questions, we really are there to help them answer questions.
We've walked people through each piece of equipment and this is how this one works, this is how this one works, and then you see them using them because now they know instead of being scared of it.
Oh, absolutely.
They're comfortable and
very interesting. Love it. I was very curious about your place myself. I made myself a cheat sheet so I could ask certain questions. So I'm going to go to it so I don't forget what I want to ask. One of the questions I wondered was, are you independently owned?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are independently owned. We kind of came through a couple of names that we wanted to go through. Kind of came over with LiveFit Wellness Center. We wanted it to be more than just a gym. We didn't want people to think that it's just a, Alex's Weight Shack or I don't know what, something like that. That's something that with LiveFit, we wanted something with fit in the name of it. And then Wellness Center that we offer so many different options for people's wellness other
Well,
than
and I
just
think
fitness.
that's cool because you're locally owned.
We are locally owned.
You know, you're involved in the community. You want to see things go well for the community, and you're a big part of the community. And helping individual businesses succeed is what our community is about.
Well, we were just talking about it. My mom Jenny here, she graduated from Fairmont, and I graduated from MCW in Martin County West, and so we are from the area. So that's we want to make sure we're making a good, strong impact in this community. So.
Love it, love it. Okay, next question. Is that
Parisi Speed School. Parisi
Which
Speed School.
is?
So we're part of a sports performance franchise,
I
Parisi.
saw this on your website, and I was curious what that was.
Okay, perfect. I'll go in. So I did Parisi as a kid. My father's from Kokomo, Indiana, and that's just a suburb of Indianapolis. And so I did the Parisi Speed School out there for my training when I was in high school, probably junior, senior year. And so then they kind of asked me to become part of it. So we were a part of a franchise for sports performance. For pretty much we advertise for youth kids of 7-year-olds. And we've got college athletes, 21, 22 years old, that we train all the way through. So we've got classes all day.
So when you say training, I don't totally grasp that. How do you mean training? What do you do?
Sport specific.
Okay.
And so
okay.
if I'm a hockey player, how do I add more performance to my game? I'm a football player. How do I get faster? I'm a volleyball player. How do I jump higher? How do I move quicker? So we help athletes develop from young kids to develop basic skills to top tier athletes that want to take their athleticism to the next level.
Very cool. Okay, the next thing I have on my list I wondered about was golf simulator.
Yep. We've got one TrackMan right now. It's a state-of-the-art indoor golf simulator that just basically has courses from all over the world. A great training tool in the off season, especially when it's cold outside, to just hit balls with accurate data to give you pretty much everything. And we've got a second one coming in October. So
Very cool.
We're gonna have 2 of them soon.
I bet a lot of people utilize that.
But we've noticed that it's kind of been a growing thing as people have learned with this new state-of-the-art technology that is a really good indoor experience.
Sure.
And so people have kind of it's been a kind of a building block as people have gone like, hey, I really like that, like using that. And we want to kind of utilize that for leagues and more tournaments in the near future. So.
Okay, next I was wondering about, do you offer basketball?
Yes, we do. We just got that in March, I believe.
So
we just got ours put in here. And this last winter here and winter of the beginning of 2022. And so it's not a full court, but it's pretty much, it offers 2-sided 3 points and 2 basketball courts in there. And that's right next to the pickleball court. So we've got our, kind of our area for people. Most people just use it casually. We don't have any leagues or anything going on. Just a nice place to practice shooting hoops and playing ball.
Next question, which we kind of dabbled on a little bit, personal trainers.
And we just got 2 new trainers on our arsenal. We plan on obviously having lots over the years. People come in and out for whatever reason, whether they're just doing it part-time or they're doing it as a career choice for long term. We just picked up our 2 new trainers, Haley and Tyler. Haley Handovit, who's from the area as well, and Tyler, he's from actually California. He's dating my cousin, so he's in the area now. So he's going to start training, get more in the sports performance Parisi with our training and offer personal training for that as well.
Now, with everything you're talking about, how big a staff do you have?
We have 6.
6 employees. If you count the
6
trainers.
employees, then us.
Then
So
us. And then we
8.
got Jeff in there. Jeff Rothmeyer is kind of a part-time trainer for us right now.
Okay.
So, and like I said,
So a little
keep going.
under 10.
Yep.
Currently, I'd say around
You
10.
guys are busy.
Yes, all the time. Summer gives us a break a little bit. Wintertime, it
Little
starts
bit of
rolling.
relief, but I'm sure of
Yep,
that.
gets a little bit of a break.
Saunas.
Okay, so there's another newer thing. We've had our saunas since the beginning of our opening. There's been just some technical stuff with getting them installed and get the final details with electrical inspections and stuff. So as we get those rolling, they're infrared. So they're not your traditional steam hot room.
Okay.
It's just dry heat. And so there's a lot of
They're great
beneficial.
for detoxing.
Yep. Great for detoxing. Great for basically just getting your body rejuvenated. Recovery tool for, like, I'm a sore athlete, so hey, I'm gonna go heat up in the sauna and detox in there. And then also just it's good for meditation, good for mental health. Like your mom mentioned, detoxing. And so there's a lot of benefits for the infrareds.
And you have tanning beds?
Yep, we have one. One we got last summer of 2021, right around right before fair time last year, I suppose, in 2021 there. But yeah, we've just got one right now. We've got room for 2, and so we have plans of getting a second one here in the near future. But yeah, we offer tanning packages as well for non and non-and members. So
And I do know quite a few people that do that, especially if they're going to a trip.
yeah, definitely trips. That's a
for
popular
the winter,
one.
They're
That's a popular
getting
one.
a little bit of raise before they go down and
Yes.
get in the hot sun in Mexico or something.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's a common
nice
one.
thing.
That's a common one.
Can someone partake in that as a member or by itself?
Yeah, we offer discounts for members, and then non-members just pay a little higher
Gotcha.
fee as a non-member. But non-members are welcome too. We actually have quite a few of those that come in. So
And you kind of answered this other question about that I had a little bit, but chiropractic and massages, which is what you do, right?
Yep. I do massage, and then Alex's girlfriend Haley also does massage, and then my boyfriend Dr. Steve Larson is the chiropractor we have in
Okay.
there. So he's there Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And Haley and I are just available whenever.
just get in touch with them.
So yes, that's right. Just right inside the door. You don't even have to traipse through the whole gym to get to us.
Okay, I'm pretty out of shape, and I definitely need some assistance with that. How do I get started in my early years?
Well, when we were starting this off, we kind of just wanted to be able to help anybody at whatever stage they're at. So we kind of had the attitude and the mantra, so to speak, of we're going to start where you're at.
Sure.
Because you can't go backwards. You have to start with today. So
So if I go in there as this horribly unfit guy that I am, I'm not going to get hollered at or anything, and you'll help me start right where I'm at?
you know,
nope. In fact, on that thought, some people are insecure with their image. They don't want to,
Sure.
They don't want to be on a bike in front of somebody who's behind them on a treadmill.
Right.
Nobody's paying attention to that. Nobody cares.
no,
Everybody's
the
just
busier the
doing their
better.
own
The
thing.
busier the better, because no one can see on you.
The place is so big. In fact, I warn everybody when they sign up for a membership, don't let the parking lot scare you off.
Sure.
Because the parking lot can look packed full. If you walk inside the door, somewhere those people have just dispersed.
And no matter, from what you said, no matter where you're at in shape or age,
Yep.
we can start at that point
Yeah.
and improve.
Yep.
So we've long needed a facility like yours. I mean, you fill a lot of needs for our community that we didn't have before, and we thank you for partaking and taking on this huge project. Where do you see going from here?
Well, for one, the basic stuff, we've got about a 2,000 square foot room that we aren't utilizing right now in the center of our gym. So we plan on adding more equipment for just regular gym goers. So,
Wonderful.
So we want to add more of that here. We'd like to get that project done this winter here of right before 2023, somewhere in that mix here. So we're having that's going to happen here soon. I've got the second golf sim coming in and coming at the next tanning bed, going to roll in when that's necessary to put in. But with our Preezy Speed School, we'd like to add in more facility for our sports performance.
Okay.
So we're offer more large group training, more classes at the same time, because number one thing we've seen, the struggle we have with the training is the times that it works for people. And so we need to offer multiple classes at the exact same time for different age
Sure.
groups. And
Makes
so
sense.
when we have a little more space for that, we don't want it to affect our members. We don't want to have classes in the middle of our gym. So if the gym's got 100 people in it working out and I've got a large class wanting equipment, that's really a big negative when it comes to people wanting to use it at the same time. And so if we add this expansion, we would be able to then advertise that more towards our Preezy school, and that way we can have large classes, multiple classes at the same time without it affecting our members.
And long term, what do you see in the long term as far as things you would like to add or kind of on the back burner, as they say?
The number one thing people talk about all the time is we need a pool. And so we'd love to advertise that if we had enough people, enough members in our facility that it made sense on paper to build a pool, we would definitely do our best to make sure that
Good to
happened.
know.
So
Good to know. I'm assuming you have Facebook, website, and such.
yep, we're on Facebook at LiveFit. Just type in LiveFit
Sure.
Sport and Wellness Center on Facebook, and you'd find us there. And then we also have a website, www.livefitfairmont.com.
Okay. And on the website in particular, what would they find on there?
You find for one pictures, so you'd be able to see what it looks like inside.
Great.
And then you'd get basically the list that you
Cool.
just went through. And so you'd basically see step by step different things that we offer, possibly prices, possibly who's doing it, something about our staff ourselves, and just kind of a little more in-depth definition of what it is. So
So when I wrote my list, I could have went to your
went
website
to
and
the
answered
website.
all the
Just went to the
questions right
website.
there. What was I thinking of?
That's all right.
Hey, I want to thank you both. This is awesome. We're very excited to have you on the show, and we're very excited to have you in Fairmont. Very important to support local people with local businesses and help the local businesses succeed. That's important for our community. Thank you so much for
Thank you very much.
coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This has been Jeff Rouse for Martin County on TV, Talking Business.
Hello and welcome. I'm Lenny Tweeden, and each month we're going to visit with Martin County veterans on a series called Their Sacrifices, Our Freedom. Today I'll be visiting with Neil Iverson and Michael Tao, and thank you for your service and for being in my book. I appreciate that very much. So first of all, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourselves, and Mike, I'll start with you.
Was born and raised in Fairmont. I'm married to my wife Becky. I have 4 children, a daughter and 3 sons. I'm a retired lawyer. That's about in a nutshell.
Okay. Neil.
My name's Neil Iverson. I live in Fairmont. My wife's name is Barb. I have 2 children, Drew and Jessica.
Okay, good, Neil, thanks. Now let's talk a little bit about your time in the military, what you did, where you served, branches of service, and so forth. And Mike, start with you again.
Well, I enlisted in 1980, interestingly enough with my youngest brother. We both went in as a buddy platoon thing that they had back then.
What branch?
Army.
Army.
Went to Fort Benning, and for both basic and AIT, both came out as 11 Hotel, which is infantry anti-armor. After serving for 2 years, I then got out of the Army, went to the Army National Guard, went through ROTC at the University of Minnesota, got commissioned in 83. From there, I came back down here to Fairmont, was the company commander, also served as scout platoon leader, the motor platoon leader, the tow platoon leader, and was the XO. Then I went on to serve in the battalion for 2 of the 135, and ultimately ended up at division for the 34th Infantry Division. So there, after being there for a while, I got activated for Desert Storm, and at that point I had been transitioning from the infantry to the armor, so I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky, moved with my wife and at that point a one-year-old daughter. Went down there, got ready to deploy to Iraq as an armor platoon leader. I was a captain at the time, and that's the interesting part about the Merchant Marine in the United States. They were supposed to be ready at any time to do things for the Army or whoever. They loaded all our tanks up on the ships. Mm-hmm. They started them across to Iraq, and every one of the ships they were loaded on broke down about the middle of the Atlantic. So by the time they got them in, the war, as you realize, once it started and we started our counterattack, was over within 2 weeks, so we never actually got to deploy in Desert Storm. But
what year was that?
That was in 1990.
1990.
Yes.
Okay, and you were working with tanks, you said?
At that point, I was in the armor. Yeah, I was one of the few guys you're going to meet. I went from the infantry to the armor to the JAG Corps, and then became a military judge.
Okay, tell us about the JAG situation. How you became a military judge. And what happened regarding that in Iraq?
Okay. Well, when I was first activated for Desert Storm, I noticed that there weren't any lawyers running around, and I was already an attorney at the time. And I thought, well, instead of sitting inside a tank, maybe it'd be better and safer for my family if I switched and did a branch transfer into JAG, so I did. Then in 2009, I got activated for Operation Iraqi Freedom and deployed to Iraq. At that point, I had all 4 of the kids there for my wife to take care of, which is a huge job when your husband deploys.
Now, were you on active duty that whole time?
No, I was in National Guard at that time, Army National Guard, and got activated.
Okay, all right.
So once I deployed over there, they put me. I was the chief rule of law for the it was the 34th Viking Infantry Division that was up there at that point in time. And then as the chief of rule of law for the 9 southern provinces in Iraq, I got to meet every judge and every PDOP, which is the same thing as a chief of police for every one of the southern provinces down there.
And how is their legal system?
Their
Similar
legal-
to ours?
Not at all. They have a system called WASTA, and every time we went to talk to a judge about doing something like getting warrants for people that we wanted to arrest and try for war crimes, the judge would want his WASTA, which meant he wanted like a up-armored Humvee and gasoline or a generator or something of that sort in order to sign the warrants, which is totally contrary to the concept of rule of law, but you couldn't break them of that. Similarly, the PDOPs who are training there worked with the British Embassy with those guys, and they was very hard to convince them. We brought them in for multiple classes to teach them how to do interviewing and questioning without beating the prisoners into confessions, because that was their way of doing things there.
And the PDOP was like the chief of police? You said?
Correct.
Okay.
And so, and the other thing that I did was inspect all the prisons and help build several prisons while we were over there. So it was a very interesting experience with a culture that I believed in, and it's proved to be true. You're not going to change them, no matter how much we want to make them a democracy. That's not going to work in that country.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think what you did had any lasting effect on their legal system?
I think as soon as they got everything they could get for their WASTA and out of the United States, they went right back to doing business as usual.
Just as-
And I think they do that to this day.
Sure. Okay. Neil, you also had some, I thought, really interesting experiences when you were in the military, especially dealing with intercepting codes. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, I graduated in '68. I went to college in Mankato State. They implemented the draft. I had a very low number in the draft.
You were a winner then.
Yeah, well, yeah, first time in ever. But so I figured the best thing to do to stay out of the infantry would probably be to enlist. So I went down and talked to the draft guy in Mankato, and he suggested that he looked into different areas for me, and he had me come back down, and he said, I've come across this branch of the military that's called the Army Security Agency. He said, you won't be in the infantry, and he said, one problem is it's a 4-year enlistment. I said, I didn't really think too much about that. But then I thought, well, I'll give it a shot and see what happens. So I enlisted. I ended up down in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri for basic training. And then after that, I went to Vint Hill Farms in Massachusetts, just outside of Boston. There, I learned Morse code. I was there for probably about 4 months.
How long did it take? A long time to learn Morse code?
Yeah.
Did that stick with you then, the Morse code?
Oh, it's a curse now. I can look at anything and dot it out in a heartbeat. I went through the school and got finished, and then I got my orders. Didn't want to go to Vietnam very badly, but I was told that's where I was going to go. So I ended up in Phu Bai, Vietnam, which was located probably about 20 miles south of the DMZ and close to the South China Sea. Got situated, we had radios, and what we did was we knew what the North Vietnamese were doing because they were sending all their messages in Morse code, and that's what we were doing. We learned Morse code. We had our radios so we could travel the waves and find the people that we were looking for. They all had certain call signs, and we knew that. And how we knew that, I don't know. It came from a different branch in the Army Security.
So when you intercepted a code,
Yes.
let's see, what happened then, or what did you do with it?
We typed it out. It came through the headphones as dits and dots, but with enough practice, we just were able to type out the letters. And we did them in 5 groups, 5-letter groups, and we did that. And then we had another branch in the Army Security Agency that deciphered all that.
So the purpose then, once you did that and you passed that code on, they would decipher it so they would know what the enemy or the North Vietnamese, what their next move was, so they could be prepared for it,
or where they were located.
where they were located.
Once, if we could get where they were broadcasting from, we had certain groups in the military that could pick up their messages and where they were located from. So that was pretty much what we did for them. Yeah.
How many people were doing the job that you did, or was yours kind of a unique situation?
We had a bunch. We had a building that had probably 6 to 8 rooms, and we probably in each room we had about 20 guys that all had their radios and were intercepting messages.
Was this all day, 12-hour day, or
Round the clock. We had 3 shifts.
Okay, that's what I was going to get at. Yeah.
We had day, evenings, and overnights. Fortunately, I was in the days most of the time, but every once in a while they'd switch us around.
Was there any one of those time periods where there was more traffic and codes going through, or was it pretty much regular?
It was regular, and it was busy. We all had a lot of work to do. When we got into our shifts and started working, it didn't seem like it took very long before we were done with our shift.
Sure. How long were you over there?
A year.
1 year?
Yep.
Did that the whole time?
Yes.
Okay. Neil, when you were decoding those messages, did you ever come across any that really stood out to you, like, hey, this is really important or significant?
The stuff I was typing, I had no idea what I was typing. I was just what they were sending, and we were putting it down in our alphabet. We had other people that deciphered what the messages were. So, but yeah, we would find out when we came in for our shift that we were certain groups we had to look for. They knew what their call signs were, so we just got on the radio and went around until we could find them. And usually there's a lot of background noise and stuff,
Sure.
and the people that we wanted to find usually had a good, clear, loud message. So we knew when we got to that and then saw their call signs, we knew that these were the guys we were wanting to find out. After that, we would type the messages out, we had guys that would come in and take it so they could decipher what we had said or typed out. And once we got done typing, we didn't know what happened with it after that. They never really let us know. But on occasion, they would say, we need to find these people. They're important, and we got to get rid of them.
As both of you think back over your time in the military, what would you say that's something that really stands out in your mind, something memorable, maybe humorous, maybe serious, maybe, who knows, whatever. So is there anything that you could relate in that regard that stands out in your mind? Mike?
Well, I suppose if you want one serious and one kind of humorous. The serious one is that their holy day over there is on Friday, and that's also their payday. And so, generally speaking, just about every Friday they get their money and run over to Iran and buy some missiles, and they come back and set them up and shoot them at us. So it was an interesting evening on Fridays and Saturdays as a general rule.
Sounds like it.
It wasn't very fun.
No.
On the humorous note, on one of my trips, we went to a little town called Alcorna, and they had this great big sign there and say it's where the location of the Garden of Eden was.
Oh.
It's where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers meet
Okay.
at Alcorna, and they had this sign up right in front of this great big, called the Tree of Life, and it's a huge, huge tree which has been dead as a wedge, I would imagine, for about 200 years. And it's in the middle of the most godforsaken area you ever want to be in your life, and it doesn't really look much like the Garden of Eden.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Neil, how about you?
Well, we were close to the ocean. We had an air base that was right next to the ocean, and then we had our facility, and then we had the mountains. The VA, or NVA were in the mountains. And we all had to do guard duty at some point in time, regularly. And that often meant from like 8 in the evening till 6 in the morning. And the one thing that was always a memory of mine was it was probably about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and things, we wanted to stay alert and see what was going on, but boy, if it was a quiet evening, it was pretty tough to do that. But so we were just sitting in our bunker and looking around, and all of a sudden, they're out towards the mountains. At the base of them, I saw a big yellow-red streak come up out of the ground.
It kind of caught your attention.
Got my attention. I called the base and I said, "We're getting hit. We're getting hit." And they said, "Where? Where?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. It ain't landed yet." About that time, the airport behind us exploded.
Oh my!
So that was probably the most interesting thing I did in a year.
Yeah, that would catch your attention.
Yeah.
No doubt
We
about
also had groups, NVA groups and stuff that were very important, and we needed to get any communications that they could. So they were a priority of ours, and we had so many different branches that some of our branches could tell us what the call signs were before we even got on the radios and looking for them. And that's how we found them, because they were always calling each other. And once we found them, then we would let the our sergeant in the room that we had found them, and then they decided what we needed to do with it. But we recorded everything that was sent out. So.
Okay, interesting. Well, I know, having been in the service myself, it did have an influence on my life. Is there a way that you think the military influenced your life after you've been out, Mike?
Oh, after doing 31 years in there, I got to admit, I was shocked at how much I missed it after I did retire. As a military judge and as a JAG officer, I probably went through and did family planning and wills for people who were deploying, and in the thousands, and so you meet a lot of troops.
They're really important and meaningful to those people.
And you really have a major impact on life. We had
Right.
several deaths. I had to go to court and testify several times for contested estates and that type of thing for soldiers who did die.
Sure.
And so it leaves a. Well, and you guys both know, you make friends in the military in a whole different way than you will
Right.
somebody who's not been in the military, doesn't understand how quickly friendships develop and how intense they are for your life.
And how important they are at the time.
It's a pretty different thing, and you really miss that.
Yeah. Neil,
Yeah.
any comment on that?
Yeah, just being isolated away from everything, and you just become a family with these guys. And there's not just a couple, there's a lot of guys, and
Right.
they come from all areas of the country, and you get a really good education about other people, what's important to them and what isn't in their areas in the country, and you make friendships that last forever.
Yeah, I guess I felt too. It was probably 4 of the best years of my life, actually. I didn't want to go to begin with, but once I was there, it was good. Okay, thank you very much, both of you, for joining us today. And doing the interview. Very interesting from both Mike and Neil. Appreciate it a lot. I'd also like to thank the family of Mike Gary, Sweet Financial Partners, Erbeling Voigt and Company CPAs, Lacey Prentice, American Legion Post 36, for sponsoring this program. We'll see you next time on Their Sacrifices, Our Freedom.
Well, there you have it, another episode of Martin County on TV. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we welcome you to tune in again. Thank our sponsors for making this happen, and remember, it's not just the past, but the present that tells our story.